Good morning and welcome to Morning Moments. I'm so glad that you all come to join me today. And today is Thursday, and I've got a special guest. I've been starting to have more special guests on Thursdays. Have you noticed that? And today I have a special guest all the way from Indiana, friend of mine for a number of years. I'd like to introduce you to him, Dennis Kutzer. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you and I had got connected.
Well, Pastor Andy, we've been friends for more years than we want to admit. And it all got started because of the connection with Pastor Bill Mindel in Harbor Springs, Michigan. And you and your family were a part there, and Bill joined up with CMI International, CMI Global. And that meant that I, as the rep for CMI, was sent to Harbor Springs. And we got connected, and those were the early days when you were still meeting in the garage. The building wasn't done yet. What a ride!
Yes.
And you guys were involved in children's ministry, and we watched and participated and had fellowship, and eventually, now we're jumping far ahead, but the last church that I pastored, because of my relationship with CMI, when that pulpit became available, I recommended you and your family, and for better or worse, man, you stepped into that role. So yeah, we've had a church relationship.
Yes. And I'm glad you said stepped on that in that role, because there's other times I thought I've stepped into something else, but that's another story. We're not going to go there.
That's another story.
So you are an overseer of several churches, I think 60 some churches now. And during this time of COVID-19, you and I were talking about how the church has had to reinvent itself. And we have to think church differently, and also think about helping others differently because of COVID-19. What are some of the challenges, and what are the changes that you see from your perspective going forward, what we're going to see in different churches and different people as they reach out and need to get help?
Thank you. You and I both know over these last few months, particularly in the early part of the shutdown, you had more free webinars than you could handle. I mean, for March, April, and May, there wasn't a day of the week I wasn't in one or two webinars by big name people. I mean, and they were just saying, look, we know this is a tough time. We're all going through this together. Nobody has a game plan. Nobody has a rule book. We're making it as we go along, and so we had a lot thrown at us, a lot of information. And then, of course, when you added to that, the government stepped in, and with the Paycheck Protection Program, a lot of churches had available to them money that helped them pay their employees. A lot of even smaller churches that had maybe 2 or 3 employees, even part-time employees, were able to get monies. And now they're still working through the process of getting that money approved as a grant, meaning that they won't have to pay it back. So a lot of attention was given to semantics and to structure and how we're going to get this done, how we're going to get that done. In CMI Global, for example, when the COVID lockdown started in March, 30% of the CMI churches had some kind of social presence. They were either using Facebook Live, they were using Zoom or live streaming or something of a video process. Within 3 weeks of the shutdown, so by the 1st of April, that 30% in CMI went to 98%.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to learn fast how to, and many of them, we'll laugh at this and we're amused, but we understand they didn't have any techie people that they could bring on board, so they used their kids.
Yeah.
They used elementary kids that help them get on Facebook. You know, here's how you do it, Dad. You just click here and click there, and now you're on Facebook.
Yes. Yeah.
Nevertheless, there was a presence, and I was so proud of our churches, particularly guys that said, "I'll never do anything like this," and they realized God was saying something.
Yeah.
God was speaking a word to the entire world, and so much prophetically. I mean, there has been so much happened from the scripture and in the Middle East right now. All the things that we're seeing that has taken place since this whole thing started in February, March. Um, it's like we are in the last days. It's no longer we're almost there. It's around the corner. No, the, the world is in the last days, and we're now headed toward the last day. So things have speeded up. Things are faster than they're going to happen, and that's where we can't use the same game plan that we used to use. The shutdown has made facilities less usable. Even in trying to get back into churches, the fact that you have to disinfect, you have to do all of these kinds of things to help people feel safe. And again, there's a lot of people that are choosing. They're still watching online, but they're choosing not to go back to church because they don't feel safe.
Yeah.
And particularly people 65 and older,
Sure.
that are in that higher risk group. And probably many of them won't even consider going back to church until there's a vaccine that they know is working, and who knows how that's going to work. I mean, right now we're seeing there's between 4 and 5 vaccines that are going to be made available probably before the end of this year, and we know because the testing hasn't been as certain as it normally is because you have years of testing going on. So there's still a lot of question marks and unsure of where things will be. But there are some things I believe that have happened and that where we are now that are going to change not only how the church looks, but again, how we do church.
Yeah.
We've been talking about that for years because of millennials, how we do church. Well, how we did church and how we're doing church are two entirely different things that have happened in less than 6 months.
Yes. And I believe that, and I'm hearing this from a lot of other folks too, that we have to do things differently. And church is more than the 4 walls, and it's more than the church with the steeple. And there are people in need that are going to reach out to folks who have the answer, and there's more than just pastors to do it. We need to mobilize everybody to be able to do that.
Well, we're coming back to the Great Commission. You know, the church is still responsible to go.
Yeah.
It's just now we've got new ways to go that we weren't using before. I mean,
yes.
this vehicle, you know that with COVID, the 20 million who were using Zoom overnight jumped to 200 million.
Yeah.
And Zoom had to make a lot of changes just to handle all of the hacking that was going on and the overload that it was. But what a great tool.
Great. Yep. Well, I want to keep to my morning moments, folks, that trying to keep this as short as they can. So I'm going to wrap this up. Dennis, I do want to thank you for joining me today. Be sure to tell your lovely wife we said hi and to send our love to her. And we thank you. And let's continue to push a positive message in this negative time and encourage others. Pass this message on. If this has been helpful for you, share it. Share this video. I'm going to put this video on YouTube as well. And I want to thank you for joining us, Dennis. And I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me for Morning Moments. Thank you, Dennis, and may God bless you and your family.
God bless you, Pastor Randy.
Okay, thank you. All right. And until next time, we'll see you, and thank you for joining us for Morning Moments.